I just saw that they had a new feature on here, and the new feature was titling. And I didn't title. So, I will do that next time. Realize I look tired, and I don't know why. Where we at? Natural!
Okay.
What's up?
Now I gotta make sure I'm in the frame. Good evening, everybody. Hold on, let me get some music going, and then we can invite everybody like we normally do. I've got a special song today.
What's the special song?
Was it nobody bothering that lady?
Joy and pain is pain.
Was it nobody bothering that lady? And they just pointed at her, and all of a sudden she got scared. She probably was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Do you not know? You don't even belong in this country."
Right.
Oh, God.
Coach, you tired?
Listen, we are all tired. My God.
Okay. And it is hot today.
I'm up under the AC.
It is hot. I gotta put back in my ACs because, yeah.
This has been another very emotional, eventful week.
Yes, it has been.
But it's been a very hopeful week for me. So
what's up, Ty? Sorry.
It's all right. It's been a very hopeful week. Anyway, I always forget to do the introduction. Welcome to Tired Tuesdays.
Welcome to Tired Tuesdays.
I'm A Natural. That's Lenny Harold. Amen.
Howdy.
Hi. and so you know what? Let's go right in because I feel like we're gonna have a lot to talk about, and I want to make sure we can get it all in. So I think you should start off with recapping yesterday.
Okay. I rock. I'm trying to shout out everybody that comes in.
They know they hear. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Yeah. So yesterday, we have been wanting to march for a while everything has been going on in the world, and just contribute to the numbers and contribute to the movement itself and lift our voices. So yesterday, as it fit into everyone's schedule, Nat, Authentic, and we went and marched in Union, which was incredible. So many people came out. When we first got there, it was just like, and it was a blend of everybody. It was so many people that came out, and it seemed like that was going to be the number when we got there.
50, 75 people.
Right. And then out of nowhere, we literally turned around and it was like hundreds of people out of nowhere. Yeah. And it had to be close to like 2,000 people yesterday that marched down Morris Ave in Union to City Hall. It was absolutely incredible. And it was all put together by this new generation, by Generation Z. Nat knows the young man who put everything together. Yes. What's his name? Just to shout out his name. I forget.
It was several of them, but it's a family that I've known from my old church back in Edison. Their kids. They have 4 kids, and they all helped to organize this particular march. Their last names are McPherson. That's what I'll say, because I can't remember all the names. I know one of them is Marcus, and there's a whole bunch of them. So yes,
gotcha. It was incredible, and it was a very peaceful protest. We marched all the way down, and they put on they had speakers that were present to really encourage and plant hope, ignite a vision. There were stories told of "We Still Here," and this was a great organized protest, but now it's time to, put a course of plan of action. And it was dope. The only thing that was very disappointing was that the mayor of Union did not show up. And who the black woman.
She's not just a black woman. She is the first black female mayor of Union, New Jersey. and she
Yeah.
decided not to show up.
Yeah. Which was very disheartening. Very
Which
disheartening.
you're
And
in New Jersey, which has 2 Black police officers.
yeah, and that's because that's all we saw. I've lived now in Vauxhall, which is still Union. I've lived here for what, 3-4 years now, and I've never seen a Black officer. And I saw 2 Black officers directing traffic yesterday, and that was the extent of that. And it was just very disheartening. And the fact that this new generation, when I tell you, Generation Z don't play no games, and I really truly believe in my heart of hearts that this was the last generation to be fucked with, and because they had no qualms of calling her out, and they called the police that were standing behind them to keep the peace, and I was just like, I looked at this generation because we millennials, right? And so, but this new generation is something else, and it was just very inspiring to see all these people come together and have a cause. And then there was this one white girl that came up and she spoke about her privilege and the way that she what? And I was just like, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And it's amazing right now that there is so much Black history happening in June, which is technically Black Music Month. But Black Music Month, and this is no shade, gets overshadowed by Pride Month. But yet, this month has now turned into Black History Month 2.0. And it's just incredible because every time you turn or scroll through Instagram, somebody is sharing facts about the injustice that have happened to our people and explaining the struggles and the institutionalized racism. And it's incredible. And and the crazy thing about it's a lot coming from white folks, which is also dope. And I really believe that this is history. Like, I really believe that there is something that is about to change and about to switch up. And God has perfect timing. He brought on a pandemic, but like Beyonce said in her speech, Beyonce switched it. She said the whole coronavirus was the crisis, but the pandemic is the killing of Black lives. And this was, I don't know, this is just a great moment to live in, and to know that we are definitely a part of history is absolutely incredible. And I was so encouraged. I was so inspired yesterday to make sure that, I pledged myself secretly, just to myself, I pledge myself to make sure that I contribute to this movement as much as I can, to inspire the youth, to inspire just my little sister, inspire my family, you know what I mean? And make my voice as loud as I possibly can. So yeah, because this is the moment. Shit about to go down and it's about to switch up. Matt, how did you feel from yesterday?
So I had a number of different feelings.
Yes, happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
Sorry.
So I had a number of different feelings from yesterday, and I didn't even give myself a chance to really process them when I got home.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. First, I realized a lot of different things. Number one, I realized that I'm old. And I only mean that in the sense of, like you said, this new generation, they were out there. And I mean, they knew their history, they knew the laws, and stuff that they didn't know, they were going to go find out. They knew what was right, they knew what was wrong, they knew how to act, they knew how to talk, they knew so much more than what I feel like I knew. And that just gave me a lot of hope, because I feel like our generation now knows more than the previous generation. And it's just this handing down of knowledge that continues to keep everybody educated and everybody aware. The other feeling that I had from yesterday was I want to do more. I don't feel like I'm doing enough. But I also know what my expertise is, and I'm going to use my platform to do what I can do. I might not make it to every march. I might not make it to every protest, but I can definitely use my music. I can definitely use my social media. I'm an extremely proficient writer. So I'm going to continue to write things to people. I'm going to continue to write letters, continue to write essays and stuff like that. It's not just about the music. It's about using my words in every aspect.
Amen.
The third thing I feel is that we still have a lot of minds to change. Our Uber driver was extremely nice. It was a very, very nice white man whose name was also James. And he had a lot of funny stories while he was dropping y'all two off. And I don't understand, why am I always the one that everybody want to have the full conversation with? Like, I'm the dark-skinned, scary black man, and y'all want to be nice to me? Like, I don't want to talk. I require a quiet ride. I don't understand why I'm the one that everyone wants to talk to. So this man, after he dropped y'all off, he's driving me on the way to my house, and we passed this this tow truck spot, or like a car garage. What is it called? An auto body shop. My God. And he was like, yeah, we got to get these planes back up in the air. And I'm like, yeah, well, hopefully soon, once everything opens up, we'll get back to normal. And he goes, yeah, well, the stock market is all crazy right now, so it's going to be a while before that gets, before it gets back to normal. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. He's like, but the economy's getting better, and it's thanks to that man in the White House. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, because that man, he knows what he's talking about. That crazy Joe Biden, he's off in the basement somewhere. He doesn't even know how to talk. And I'm like, thinking to myself, was not your president just down to the bunker when he thought that they were going to come and get him at the White House? So then I was like, all right, you know what? Let's just change the subject, because he was like, Donald Trump has done a lot for everybody here. I was like, not for me.
Okay.
And he was like, I was like, well, he has done a lot for everybody. He's cleaned up the mess from what we had from the last several years, and he's got the economy back. He's gotten so many jobs back. And I'm like, well, all I can say is things are changing. And he was like, yeah, things are definitely changing. And then he was like talking about pizza, and I was like, okay, let's talk about that, because I don't know what's gonna happen. And then when you have those conversations, you're always worried if, like, you say the wrong thing and then they're going to get offended, and if they're going to be like, get the fuck out my car and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, just get on home and whatever. In an instance like that, it's always best to just use wisdom and not go in on the conversation, especially if you're in an Uber Uber ride, because you don't want nobody driving you to another destination. Exactly. And I know me. And that's just being real. There's two sides of me. The one side is the good Christian side that keeps his mouth shut and knows how to just dissolve confrontation. The other side of me is ready to cut you the fuck out. And sometimes when those sides meet real close in the middle, you never know what's going to happen. And I had to make a split decision in that moment to not have that conversation with that man.
Right. And that was wise.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about yesterday, a lot had happened prior to the march. Over the weekend, well, last Friday, for my job, I had, Karan said only two sides? Yeah, whatever. I had a chime call with my job, and they wanted to talk about what was going on with the protests and police brutality and all that kind of stuff, and they wanted to hear from us as far as what we could do. And without getting into too much detail, I asked the question about how we can convey our stance to our customers so that they know how to talk to us, when they call for help. And without going all the way in, changes are being made. And that made me very, very hopeful. I will say that this subject apparently came up 2 years ago at my job, and probably from me, if I remember correctly. And they couldn't make any changes because of PR and basically how the company was going to look. But now they don't have a choice. And the fact that they're making moves, I had another meeting today to help out with different policies and stuff like that. I am hopeful that this will be the start of something different. I know we have a ton of work to do, not just my company, because, over the last week or so, we've been seeing every company in the world post something on Instagram or post something on
Every,
Facebook or change their
every,
website. And it's like, y'all should not even have to make these statements, because if you knew that racism was wrong, then your companies will be operating differently. Your employees will be getting paid better. Your employees and your upper management and your higher offices would be more Black.
amen,
Your products would be catered to Black people instead of
amen,
pandering to Black people. Like,
right,
we shouldn't have to question where you stand. It should already be a thing. So
right,
a lot of these companies, I've been waiting for them to really like put their money where their mouth is and also make actual actionary things happen, instead of
right,
just telling us what they're going to do. And a lot of them have
right,
been donating money. A lot of them have been, changing their policies, and I'm really happy to see a lot of that happening. So
right,
yeah,
right.
that's basically how my feelings were from yesterday. It was a lot of hope, a lot of hope. And I'm fat. I need to lose weight because that little walk didn't hurt. But sitting in the sun for 4 hours, that almost killed me. So yeah.
It's interesting though, because when it comes to the topic of like companies and them making changes and them donating, it's if you work for any of these companies, we have to make sure that we hold these companies accountable, and not just because donating money and putting up a little excerpt on their website is the least that can happen. And that's just to save face, to make sure that they maintain the Black dollar. We have to be wise in this situation and not just flood to everybody that's like, oh yeah, we're pro-Black, Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. Like at the same time, because there's a whole thing behind that. We have to hold them accountable. And
Yeah.
It's imperative that we do. You know what I mean? And if they do not back up their words, then it's our time to take away our dollar. Yesterday, we got educated that there is almost $2 trillion that we add to the economy as Black people. That I did not know, and just for that very reason, that's incredible. Now imagine if we would dump all of those finances into our own neighborhoods and into our own Black businesses. We could have been had the new Black Wall Street. You know what I mean? So it's time for us to kind of reshape our thinking and readjust and redirect ourselves and build our community and believe in our community. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's one of the
And
reasons
help
why.
each other.
Yeah. And let's make it clear. Supporting our own does not mean not supporting anybody else.
Right.
There are things that we essentially need that just don't happen to be created by solely Black-owned companies.
Right.
But what we can do when we have to buy from those other companies, we reinvest what we're buying and what we need into our own community. Like, I know right now, I prefer an Apple computer. If there is a Black Apple computer company that comes out, then I'll purchase from them. Right now, I need to purchase my Apple computer. Now, what am I going to use that Apple computer for? I'm going to use it for building my business and giving back into my community.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Are you all right? Now you're in the corner.
No. I was just shut up.
He's got some company over there.
No, I was looking at I was clearing up the computer.
Oh, okay.
Because it's hot in this room.
So here's something that I wanted to talk about. Well, first, actually, before we even go forward, they did the funeral for George Floyd today. And
gotcha.
I actually forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my mom hit me with a text, and she was like, "They about to have Kim Burrell sing at the funeral." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I had my meeting today at 1 o'clock, right when she started singing, so I couldn't really watch. But I watched after the fact, and I don't know. I love when we come together, and I love when we sing. And I know that, a lot of people may not believe what we believe. And I know that a lot of people are like, some people were saying, well, it doesn't make sense to be singing at a funeral and doing all these, big songs, all that kind of stuff and going in. And I'm like, nah, it's necessary. There's comfort in music. There's comfort in the words of these songs where they're saying God will take care of you. And there's comfort and there's encouraging words that can be sung. So I say all that just to say, rest in peace to George Floyd. Had it not been for your death, which is sad, none of this would probably be happening right now, I don't think.
Right. Right.
Rest in
Agreed.
peace to everyone that we've lost over the last several weeks and months and years and decades and centuries.
Yeah.
But I think George Floyd's death was a catalyst for change. And
it was.
If nothing else, it's helping us move forward in the right direction. So I
Right.
just wanted to make sure that we shouted that out before we go forward.
Right.
Let's look at some of these comments. Everybody's in here chatting it up. All right, so the black dollar stays in our neighborhood for 6 hours. This is true, Karan. And the thing about it is again, when it comes to black business, we have to support our own, but we also have to make sure that our businesses are professional and our businesses are consistent and that our businesses are giving out good quality product.
Right.
That way we can keep it. It has to be comparable to the main industry. So that way we'll want to spend our money with our own. The one thing, I think we talked about this a few episodes ago, was yes, we are cheering for everyone black, but we're cheering for black excellence too. Just because it's black don't mean it's right.
Okay.
And we have to be very smart about where we're putting our dollars. So if I know that I can get fresh bananas from ShopRite, but you got a farmer's market, but your bananas got flies and brown spots, I don't want to buy your bananas. I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm going to go get my bananas from ShopRite.
Right.
Now, if you got a ripe tomato and it looks great, then I'll get my tomato from you instead of ShopRite. But again, you got to think about the quality. You have to think about what you're offering your own people and see if you would want that offer to yourself. Have some pride and some real excellence in your business, so that way we can feel empowered and prideful about spending our money with you.
Right. Right. Amen. Amen.
This is true, but let's not forget, we've done this before. The problem is the retaliation we seem to always get when we focus on ourselves. This is very true, but I think now knowing that what is it, $2 trillion you said?
What happened?
You said $2 trillion?
Yeah, it's close to $2 trillion.
Yeah, $2 trillion is a lot of money. And the fact that all these companies came out and was like, we stand with Black lives, that's because they stand with that black $2 trillion.
Right. Right.
They'll know
that. Right.
Let's see. Black Lives Matter is a fad. These companies don't really care. It's politically correct to make statements and give donations. Let's not say Black Lives Matter is a fad. Everything else that you said, Royce, I agree with. But I was on another website today that basically said that we are being duped into the corporations and the elite who are pushing the Black Lives Matter movement. And one of the statements that they said that made me really pissed off was, everybody knows and accepts that Black Lives Matter. That's not true. If it was true, then we wouldn't be getting killed. Right. So now your whole entire argument gets thrown out the window with me because you've literally just demoted the whole entire point of the movement. Right. And to me at this point, if the elite and these companies do jump on a bandwagon to make some money, at least it's bringing light to the conversation that wasn't there before. You know, I think that if we weren't getting killed in these streets every day, then yeah, I could see that being the case. But it's not. And since we are, we need to pay attention to it. Money needs to be put behind it. Propaganda needs to be put behind it. They put propaganda behind anything else they want to do, whether it's war. I mean, we could be watching TV, watching a regular kids program, and then all of a sudden there's some video game-like commercial that comes on, and then all of a sudden, oh, this is an Army recruitment commercial. Well, I'm thinking this is the new game for Xbox or PlayStation, and they're trying to get us to enlist. Didn't they do that for Independence Day? They were putting up commercials like they were Army commercials, and it was like fighting aliens and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, wait, what is this? This is an Army commercial? But it was an advertisement for Independence Day. That's propaganda. Whereas like, you're misdirecting our thoughts to make us do something that we were never really intending to do. And honestly, if we're going to start doing subliminal messages that tell people that racism is wrong and Black Lives Matter, give me all the subliminal messages. Put all the 1 second frame clips in my movies and TV shows to tell everybody that Black Lives Matter. I'm here for it. Right. But it's definitely, like I said, we got to hold these companies accountable because it is a in thing to do right now. You know what I mean? Even down to, I don't know what it was. It was the Democratic Party that was kneeling down and had the African garments around their necks and stuff like that. That was just like, and I was like, what is happening? Like, this is all too much. And
We just have to hold these companies accountable. Like I said, if you work for any of these companies, or even if you know that the company that you work for is pressed about, you know, we donated, you know, no, make sure that they have conversation, make sure that there's change, make sure that there's somebody that's on their board of directors that is Black. You know what I mean? Like, we have to force this change. You know what I mean? And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So trending is definitely a better word, Roy. So I definitely am what you want to. It's trending, not necessarily a fad, because fads fade and trends do have lasting impact. Sean said, I hear you, brother, but I'm personally not interested in faux support anymore. We want equality. Jump on board and rock out with us, or fuck off. I have no notes. I have no notes. Yep. You said everything that needs to be said.
Right.
I'm cool with any company stating that they stand with Black people, sincere or not, because companies mean money, and money is the only thing that makes moves in this country, and we need moves. Amen. Yes to mine. Thank you. Mom said, we need to be careful because they're getting on board too quick. We must truly discern what's going on. And that's the thing. Like, I know from my company, the one thing that I've always liked about my company is their drive to stay diverse and inclusive. They might not be the best at it, but it is one of their biggest tenets in the company, is to continue to have a diverse employment, a diverse staff, and diverse ideas and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, they fail at many points. Over the last couple of weeks, they have excelled farther than what I imagined. Like, I never thought that a question that I had, based on my history with this company, was going to be answered in such a quick way and such a concise way, where there's actually going to be changes made that I also get to be a part of. So thank God for Audible. Amazon is a whole, they still got a lot of work to do, but my job is on the ball. Other places of employment, other jobs and companies, I don't know. You know, I know that if anybody watched my IGTV over the weekend, I did a video about Republic Records announcing that they are going to be removing the word urban from their categories for their company. I was very upset about that. Like, I was happy, but I was mad because it's something that should have never even happened in the first place. I'm not going to get back on my soapbox about it. But again, that to me was lip service. It did not mean that there was going to be real systemic change. To me, systemic change means we're wiping that from all aspects of the music industry, and we're going to recalibrate how we sign artists, the money that we allocate to these types of artists, the promotions that we put behind these artists, and not let advertisers and algorithms and magazine clicks determine the categories that we put the artists in and the money that we give them for promotions and marketing. Like, that's a bigger step to me that needs to be made. So that means over the next, say, 5 years, we should see a high surge of Black R&B artists being signed, being promoted, being at #1 on the charts, and getting all the awards. That's what I think needs to happen.
And being put in categories that truly fit the music that they're creating. So if it is a Black artist that is doing rock music, put them in a rock category. If it is a Black artist that is doing country music, put them in a country category. If it is a Black artist who is doing alternative experimental music, put them in alternative experimental music. And this is the problem with the industry, is that we were only confined to rap and hip hop and R&B. Which then got turned into urban contemporary. So this way, white folks like Justin Timberlake can be added into the court category and win an award. And
let me make this clear. I am not beat over awards. I am not beat over Billboard charts. What I'm beat over is the opportunity to be heard. We know that Billboard charts and awards help sales of records. It helps your notoriety, it helps your spread. It helps your family grow. But if I am one of 1,000 artists that never make it to the top 20 because the big companies have bought those top 20 spots from the DSPs and from the magazines and from the awards, then how am I ever going to get my music heard?
Right. Right.
How am I ever going to be able to spread my fan base wider than just my hometown? How am I going to be
Right.
able to do that? You know,
Right.
and taking away the word urban is a first step. But now what else are you going to do? Are you going to
Exactly.
really make the playing field even? Like,
Right.
is the radio going to stop playing the same handful of songs every week? Are they going to start
Mm-hmm.
playing some real independent music? And I shouldn't have to submit to satellite radio. I shouldn't have to submit to online radio. That means the
Right.
major radio stations that are actually on the air in your cars and on the radios need to search for us. We're here.
Right.
We've been here.
Right.
And you shouldn't be afraid of your advertisers.
Right.
Your advertisers, if they're now claiming to stand with Black communities, and if they claim that Black Lives Matter, then they should be giving you their stand with and claim money. So
Talk
that you
about
can
it.
now put more Black artists on. They go hand in
Talk
hand.
about it.
So let's not forget that those things are connected. You
Right.
know, our opportunities should be equal across the board. If you got all the white artists who are now saying Black Lives Matter, if you got all these non-Black artists that are siding with us, then sign some Black artists, put some Black artists on. I have yet to see an influx of even our Black big artists signing other Black artists.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, the only artists that I've seen that have actually gotten some traction from being signed to the Black artists is Chloe and Haley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Beyonce signed them. Usher signed Justin Bieber. That wasn't a good move to me.
Right.
Well, no, he didn't sign him. He discovered him. There's a difference. But
Right.
again, there's countless Black artists that are out here that need an opportunity. And if Black people aren't, if white people aren't going to give it to us, then Black people got to give it to us. But at the same time, take your money, put it where your mouth is. If you stand in solidarity with us, then sign us. Give us these opportunities.
Right. Like I just recently discovered that I've been doing a lot of reading, and right now I've been doing a lot of indulging into the history of Prince and his career. And one of the things that I learned yesterday that I did not know was that he demanded Warner Brothers to not allow the R&B division to promote and finance his promotion. He demanded that it be the pop division that promote and finance his career. And he stood by that, and he stood by that strong. And a lot of people would not even know that. And the fact that he stood by that, and they wound up leaning to him and making sure that that pop division wasn't able to him. And that's what we have to start demanding that. And we have to start demanding that, you know, they flood more money into R&B divisions and Black music, because they don't really care. It gets a certain amount of money, and that's just it.
If you think about it, and I might be on some type of conspiracy type shit, why do we have different genres? Why do the labels need to even have these genres? Is it because Black people were excelling at so much non-quote-unquote Black music that they had to create genres so that white people could feel like they had their own?
Right.
Because if you think about it, we don't have a Black Grammys, but there is a country Grammys. There is a Latin Grammys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and people like Beyonce have never won Album of the Year. They've never won Song of the Year. They always go to white artists or non-Black people. So my thing is, why do we even need the genres? Why do we even need the separation? Music is music. And at this point, all music is crossing over itself anyway. You have artists like Janelle Monáe and Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak.
Tyler, the Creator.
Everything. It's not just one thing. So why do we even need the separation anymore? They need to do it with all the categories and just who was the best artist this year? Who had the best album? And I'm still beyond that too. I don't even care who has the best album. If I like it, I like it. A lot of people that win these awards, I can't stand their stuff. So, but you know, just do it that way. Music is music, and if it's good, it's good.
Right.
But I guess because it's a business, they have to do all that. So.
Yeah, and it gives it more of a clarity of how to divide the awards out. That's really all it is. You know what I mean? But then it's also same. But then it's also make sure that you have Black people that are doing this type of music in those categories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's a #1 pop song or whatever, like make sure that there are Black people that are doing pop music, add them to that number.
Yeah.
Add them to that number. Because there's a lot of people that are even on these labels that are Black artists that are on major record labels that still are not getting a budget that is due them.
Yeah.
You know, that are really out here making some incredible music. We will never know nor hear nor any of it because it's only a certain amount of money that's allocated to them.
Sean said, it sounds like you may have to create your own label, Black owned. I mean, a lot earlier said than done, I'm sure, but I think the new way for us moving forward will be to create and pushing our own. I agree with you. You know,
Amen.
I think there's a game that still has to be played when it comes to the music industry because these big labels own everything. Like they own how we put the music out. They even own part of how we create the music because we've got to pay companies to use the programs that we use to make the music. We've got to pay the internet service that helps us upload our stuff to the DSPs. Then you have the companies that own stock in the DSPs and can control how many songs get played and streamed how many times, which then puts their numbers up, which then gets their fan base growing, which gets the Instagram's talking about them. So the algorithms then get pushed up for that specific artist over another one. And then you get the awards. So it's like they're all hand in hand with whoever owns these companies. And at the end of the day, my little independent label, it can do something. It's not going to do that. I have to figure out how to buy stock in iTunes, how to buy stock in Spotify, and enough of it to where I have some actual verbal power and influence on those streaming numbers.
Right.
It's going to be a long time before that happens. But
actually, it might be a little easier said than done, actually. I mean, easier said. I mean, easier done than what we're saying. That's what I'm trying to say. If we create a platform where it is a streaming service and we built our own streaming service that's not connected to Spotify, that's not connected to iTunes, and it's just a solely Black streaming service of all types of music that we all do, whether it be country, jazz, whatever, just specifically Black, and we connect even a record label to that. All it needs is one record label, two record labels, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and it creates itself where we create our own DSP.
And that leads to the question that Tyler the Tenor just asked: where does Tidal fit into this conversation?
And
here's the thing about Tidal. So I know that Jay-Z is the face of Tidal, and Tidal is supposed to be the first Black-owned streaming service.
Right.
Tidal is not a Black-owned streaming service. Tidal has Black owners, but it was previously a German-based streaming service that Jay-Z bought stock into. Right. And they structured their distribution platforms so that artists could take ownership of what they distribute through that company. What Tidal still has to do is make those avenues more so open to independent artists so that we can also have a say in how our music is distributed. They have not done that yet, so it still makes them a part of the big five instead of it being something that's more accessible to independent artists. So what you're saying is good as far as having our own DSP. It would require, and this is the crazy part, it would require a lot of the CEOs, a lot of the VPs, and a lot of the upper influential people in the business to leave their positions and come together to create a new company. And that would help because we'd have a lot of money and a lot of power. They'd have to be ready to combat those other companies who still want to stay claim to their power. They'd have to be uncomfortable. That means Jay-Z would have to leave Tidal. That means that any Black representatives that work for the other DSPs would have to leave. Right. And I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if we'd ever see that happen.
I hope and pray. I mean, that would be an incredible move. It would really be an incredible move.
Yeah. Because honestly, we need our own. I mean, if we want to be able to determine what the charts should say, what the streaming number should say, if we want to be able to determine who gets what award and all that kind of stuff, we got to do it ourselves. But we also have to decide, do we need that type of qualification for our music? I'm a firm believer that music is a gift from God, and he never meant for it to be judged against each other. So even in our argument of, you know, treat us better with these awards and treat us better with these numbers, why? What are they going to do for us?
Right.
You know, if we just did something that was purely black and didn't care about the awards and didn't care about the numbers, I'm pretty sure that our numbers would grow, because that means more inclusion and more of a widespread influence to the rest of the world with our music. There's so many possibilities that can come from what's happening now. That the music aspect, of course, is just one of them. And I know we talk about music a lot because we're both musicians, so that's why we do that. But there's still a ton of other issues that have to be addressed that we won't get into today because we'll be here all night.
Right.
Last thing that I was going to talk about, because we have, 15 minutes left? Roughly.
Like 17, okay. Yeah.
So the last thing I was going to talk about was outside is about to open up.
Right.
And in Jersey, it's open up now. And they're saying that everybody can go outside and do whatever you want to do. Still got to wear masks. Still got to practice social distancing. They've heightened the number of people that can gather in certain places and all that kind of stuff. What do we feel about the connection to that, the connection of that to these protests, to what's going on around the country and around the world? Because now I just read another report from the World Health Organization that said coronavirus patients who were asymptomatic actually had a much lesser chance of spreading the virus than people who showed symptoms, and they didn't even need to be in the hospital. So, like, do we feel like this stuff is planned? Do we feel like somebody's pulling our leg? Do we feel like they're not telling us everything? I mean, I know they're not telling us everything, but do you feel like it's safe to go out?
To be honest with you, I never really truly believed in the whole COVID-19. I didn't believe it was causing as much of an hysteria as they were saying it was. First of all, you know, even with them counting the numbers, they weren't really like saying like, you know, they were saying if somebody was in the hospital, they had the flu, and if it was around, I forget how they were saying this, like, and if they showed any one of those symptoms, they were counting that as COVID-19. So it could have just been strictly the flu, and those numbers were all, you know, miscalculated only because somebody had a respiratory situation, but they already had a previous respiratory thing, but they counted that as COVID-19. So even when they said that, that's when I was kind of like, something right here. And I don't believe it's as huge as it is. I mean, there's been a lot of protests, and I saw this other thing that was saying that, you know, even with the protests, because there have been a large number of people wearing masks, that it's not really spread between the protests. It's being spread between like exactly what you had just said. And so it was just like, I was like, it still doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I believe that there was and I'll be honest, I believe that there was a course of action to try to create a massive vaccination. I really do. I believe that that's what it was trying to do, but all of a sudden there was a curveball with George Floyd passing, and it became a whole other thing because everybody was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm about to go out here and march. You know what I mean? You know, and so it's just like, I don't know.
This is what Ron is saying. He said, so we had 200 people infected in all of New Jersey yesterday, and they've been protesting for over a week. Exactly. I was outside yesterday protesting. So now I'm like, okay, am I going to find out in 2 weeks? Am I going to start feeling something in 2 weeks? Like what's going on? What's really going on? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, even with George Floyd's funeral, nobody was in that church telling everybody to social distance. The singers that they had on stage were all separated 6 feet apart, but everybody in the pews was sitting nice and tightly packed together, and they were wearing masks. So what is the truth is really what I'm trying to get at. Like,
But then also remember that the CDC said all of a sudden now it can't be transmitted through surfaces like that.
Exactly.
And so it was like, okay, so we've been wearing gloves all this time, making sure you don't touch nothing, wiping down stuff. So how is this brought on? It just, no answers. That's why I feel like there was something else that was either they had us all sitting down. I still believe it had a lot to do with 5G. It connection with 5G. I believe that there were, you know, they also have the conspiracy about Hillary Clinton, that there was a lot of court cases that was going on, and they tried to shield that by even with the protests, you know, making more coverage on that while she was in court about her emails because she was very linked to Epstein, and it's just a lot.
It's a lot
going on. It's a lot.
We know all about misdirection. We know all about distractions and everything like that. The one thing that I do know to be true is that police are killing Black people in the streets.
Right. Solid.
Another thing I know to be true is that racism exists and needs to.
It's still here. Yes.
So even with everything going on, I don't want to lose that point, but I also just want us to be very aware, and that and we can be multifunctional beings, meaning that we can think about quite a few different things at the same time, and still be able to, you know, stand in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, but also understand that the government ain't shit and they ain't telling us something.
Right.
You know. Right. The powers that be, they have their agenda, and we just have to keep on with ours.
Right. I mean, you can even tell. You can even tell by the mission that the media was trying its hardest to focus only on looting and rioting. You know what I mean? But social media pushed it so hard that it was like, no, it is not about looting and rioting. To the fact that national media had to focus on the fact that there were these video clips that had the truth out there, that they had to post it. Yeah. And so it even showed the power of truth, like, and of us being true reporters out here and being like, no, don't listen to fucking Fox News and CNN trying to push whatever their agenda is. This is what's really happening.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So it was definitely supposed to be something. They tried to manipulate the protests and work it in their favor, but it did not work.
And honestly, we talk a lot about like what the future was supposed to look like, you know, flying cars and skyscrapers and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that we don't have those transporters yet, you know.
Right.
But in a lot of those movies, those futuristic movies, it is true to life on this protest type, you know, situation where people's eyes are opening up to the truth. We are not just taking whatever's given to us as fact. We are finding out for ourselves. We are researching. We are videotaping, so we have our own evidence when things happen. Yeah, I mean, like this is the future, and maybe we got to get past this point to get to the flying cars. But at least we know that the shit is real on some fronts. That's what I was going to talk about. You have introduced me to something that is now my new favorite thing to do. And even though it does get my blood pressure up, it is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
What?
And that is Karen's Gone Wild on Instagram.
Oh my God. I am serious. I discovered this a day ago or so, and Karen's Gone Wild on Instagram that shit is so funny to me.
Comedy gold. And if there's any white people that's in the room right now watching this, we don't mean any offense. But y'all be getting mad for no reason. I mean, we get mad for no reason too. We get mad for no reason too. But y'all
do it in a special way.
Top of your head or on the side of your neck. Like from Mob Wives.
Like,
that this one lady was on the fence because she was trying to cut somebody else's leaves off of a tree.
Yes.
Up onto the fence. And so the guy was taping her, and he was like, "Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and you know, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?"
Right. Literally, her voice tone.
Like, you son of a bitch. Okay. Wait. And it's like
and,
video after
and her
video
name was
after
like
video.
Diane or something, right? Wasn't it like
Yeah.
Diane?
He's like, okay,
He was like,
Diane, no
he
problem.
was like, so my bushes are really bothering you this bad, Diane. And
Yeah.
she was like, yes, oh my God, I can't. And it was just like, seriously, y'all?
And here's the thing, I know because I am my mother's child, I am quick to lose it when certain services are not supplied the way that I think they should be supplied at a restaurant, at a store, stuff like that. Because my mom has lost it, I've lost it, my sister's lost it,
Right.
but not to the aspect of being racist and violent. Like that's some other shit. And that's why it makes the shit funny. Now, we know that the not funny part of this is when Karen decides that she wants to call the cops or call the boys to come back and fight somebody or shoot somebody. That's not the funny part of it.
Right.
The funny part of it is just when she's screaming at the top of her lungs like a banshee.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's and I think what makes it even funnier is when you have white people that are calling Karens Karens. Like,
that's what makes it funny.
It really makes it hilarious. Because
Yeah.
it's like, your own people is recognizing that you got issues like that. Yeah. And yeah.
If you have not checked it out, if you're not ready to, don't. But if
don't do it. Yeah. Because it will raise your blood pressure at first.
Yes. Please just go to Karen's Gone Wild on Instagram. It is the funniest thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it really is. It's the best collection of parentry that could ever be out there.
Did you say parentry?
Yes. It really is. Really is. So whoever thought of that, I applaud them, because I don't know. It also made me realize that the resilience of Black folks, like even with you were about to lose your job.
Listen.
You were about to lose your job. Catch this dance. Hey. You were about to lose your job. Why are you detaining me? Like,
yes.
We just have a gift of turning hardship into some form of joy to keep us going no matter what.
Yes.
That is the key to our resilience. It is the beauty in our nature. This is what makes us a special people. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I love being Black, and I'm just going to put that out there. I really got blessed.
Yeah. Man. A few announcements before we go. Okay, well, beat to you too. So next week we are going to be back at 6 o'clock for Tired Tuesdays.
Yes, we are.
You definitely want to tune in to my channel at 7 p.m. right after Tired Tuesdays is done. Maybe like 7:05, just so I can have some time to set up in between. But I'm going to be doing a short concert of songs called Songs for the Struggle. And this is one of the ways that I'm going to give back into our community and to keep the movement going. We have a tendency to let things go for a couple of weeks and then it dies down in the news media, dies down on social media. This is not something that we need to let go so soon. So
no, not at all.
I'm going to be doing a short concert of songs that I've written and possibly one other song with a special guest. So we will tune in on Tuesday at 7 o'clock for Songs for the Struggle on my page.
Yes.
Then make sure we're still going with Tired Tuesdays. Everything is good, but June 30th is our season finale.
Yes.
So you definitely want to make sure to tune into that.
Yeah, it's going to be a very special show.
Very special.
Celebrating each other. Yeah.
Celebrating each other, celebrating the show itself.
Yeah.
We've got some very special plans for you on June 30th. So make sure you tune in, tell a friend. We're going to put up a flyer very soon about the season finale show. It's going to be at a special time. So make sure you set your calendars for that day. And more information will be coming probably this week with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And then we're taking off for the summer, y'all, because now that outside open back up, I'm trying to go outside.
Right.
I'm going to let y'all catch that first Rona air for the next couple of weeks, but then after that, I'll be out in these streets.
Right. I'm going to see what happened to y'all first. No shade.
Because I don't want to breathe that first air. Give me the extra air after.
Right. And I suggest everybody do that. Just give it a second. Give it a second.
Yeah, because I feel like something's going to be left over.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. just to be on
So,
the safe
do we have any other announcements?
side. No, not really. Oh, let me share some things that I have been reading.
Amen.
Um, is that in the square?
Bring it down some a little bit. Okay, amen. Stolen Legacy is backwards, but
It is. Oh, okay. You know what
yeah.
I'll do? I will put the content of what I've been reading on this page as
Yes.
well. I'm also going to do, because I wanted to do something I wanted to do something extra on my website. So I'm going to put up a actual like uh required reading or like book club in a sense of things that we can read to learn about our history,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a few things that we just don't know because we were not taught, and certain things that I've discovered that I have really truly enjoyed reading that I believe that everyone should share in. So I will have those links on the Tire Tuesday, on my own page, and on my website soon. So I'll do all of
Amen.
that and just do it that way. That'll probably be the best thing.
That's dope. If anybody wants some starters for that, my job, they have a whole anti-racist section that comes up as soon as you go to audible.com. So
Oh, dope.
if you like
Dope.
to listen to your books, go to Audible, and they have a whole section devoted to anti-racist themes and things that you can learn and research on your own. So
Right.
please do that. That's a little shout
It's
out to my
truly
job.
about
I'm not getting
educating.
paid to do that, but
But it's truly about educating ourselves, and we need to make sure that we do the required reading.
Yes.
If you want to hide anything from anyone, it was said to hide it in a book. You know what I mean? So like, let's not have the truth hidden from us.
And if you are not yet registered to vote, please do so. The New
Oh my
Jersey
God,
primaries are
please,
coming up on July 7th.
please, yes,
July 7th is also our blackout day for the economy. So while you are going to vote, please also buy only from Black businesses. We're
right.
talking about keeping the Black dollar in our community. Let's do that.
As much as you can,
As
try
much
to
as you
support a
can.
Black business,
Yes. So July 7th,
even
you
if
got
it's
two
just to
things to
eat.
do.
Come on
Exactly.
now. We spend so much money at McDonald's and Wendy's and all kinds of other stuff. Like Wendy's and what is it? Wendy's and I think McDonald's just contributed a lot of money to the Trump campaign.
It wasn't Wendy's. It was
It
people that
wasn't
own
Wendy's?
franchises of Wendy's, but not Wendy's, the actual corporation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I knew. But
Yes.
make sure that you research into that. At the end of the day, we shouldn't be eating fast food to begin with anyway.
Exactly.
But like, support a Black business because somebody mama in there really cooking.
Exactly.
So
how much time we got?
We got a couple of seconds left. Yeah.
That's it. So we will see you next week for Tire Tuesdays.
Yes.
Bye.
Peace and grease.